All right. Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Joseph, your moderator, and on behalf of our presenters, ViewQwest and Palo Alto Networks, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to you all to today's webinar, No Branch Left Behind, Enterprise-Grade Security for SMEs and Small Branches. In this webinar, we will explore branch security and its potential weaknesses, and at the same time, we'll cover first, changing needs for IT teams of a multi-branch business. Second, entry points for cyber attackers and how the majority of these threats can be easily prevented. And of course, next generation technologies and ML-powered solutions delivered as a service to secure company branches. Now, before we begin and before I introduce you to our speakers, I would like to go over some housekeeping rules. All participants will be muted and your cameras are being turned off throughout the webinar to enable the speakers to present without interruption and of course for your privacy. If your connection stops, just log off and log back in and you will be in the webinar room once again. Anytime, should you have any questions during the presentations, you may submit via the Q&A function located at the bottom of your screen. Please note that this session is being recorded and will be sent to registered attendees afterwards. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce you to our speakers. Joining us today is Rohan Maheshwari. Rohan is the Director for Business Development at ViewQwest, a seasoned professional in the telecommunications and information technology industries. He has been helping customers in their network and security transformation journey through better understanding of next-gen solutions and technologies. Joining Rohan is Henry Gia. Henry is a service provider systems engineer for ASEAN with Palo Alto Networks, a seasoned and highly accomplished professional in telecommunications and information technology industries with extensive experience in developing advanced mobile and security solutions around Wi-Fi, LTE, 5G, mobile core, and IP networks. Now, it is my pleasure to hand over the floor to Rohan. Rohan, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you, Joseph. Excited to be here and share what new things ViewQuest has been developing over the past couple of months in collaboration with our partners here at Palo Alto. I'd like to thank Henry, my co-speaker, for joining me. Just give me a second. Okay. So as our customers, of course, we would like to thank you for putting your trust in us. And as you may know, we are a telecommunications and information technology services provider in Singapore, Malaysia, and most recently, the Philippines. On top of domestic and international connectivity, which we've been doing for the past 20 years, we also are focused on providing managed network services and cybersecurity solutions. I would just like to share some of the recent recognitions that we have received, and we're happy to share that with you as well. So we've been recognized as one of the top 10 managed security services provider in APAC in 2019 and 2020. We've also received a 4.8 star rating from Gartner Peer Insights on our network. And something we're most proud of is we continue to remain as the fastest ISP in Singapore. So, I'm sure you'd be happy to hear that your ViewQuest connection is the fastest in Singapore by Ookla Speed Test Award. And we continue to remain to be one of the fastest providers in Singapore with a median score of 276. So if you look at the other providers here, they're well below where we stand today. Now, we're happy with this recognition, but what we're most proud about is the trust that our customers have put in us. With the customers around Singapore, Malaysia, and Philippines, we've been able to work closely and provide unique solutions that meet the customer requirements. For Singapore, such as NTUC, Singapore Airlines, Changi Airport Group. For Malaysia, UOA Group and Public Bank. And Philippines, we have LBC and companies like Philippines Airlines. Now, one of their key focus as ViewQwest is to create solutions that apply to unique business needs. And we've always wanted to do right by our SMEs. And in collaboration with Palo Alto Networks, we've created unique offerings that we think are extremely relevant for the security that SMEs need today. What I'll talk about first is our secure branch, which is a comprehensive branch security for small to mid-sized offices, branches, and remote sites. We also have SecureNet Enterprise, which is a hosted and managed solution by ViewQwest. And this is meant more for companies with a distributed branch setup around the country. And finally, we have Secure Access, which is our cloud-delivered security platform in partnership with Palo Alto as well, which is meant for companies that have, started expanding regionally, started expanding globally, and have presence in multiple countries, have remote users that need to access internal resources or cloud platforms around the world. Before we talk about the solutions, just want to share some trends. First of all, there's this common misconception that hackers only want to attack major multinational corporations, and they're not really paying attention to SMEs. In fact, SMEs are the easiest targets for these hackers, and if they wanted, that would be one of their key focus, because the level of security is not the same as what enterprise big corporations are getting. SMEs make up 99% of the businesses in Singapore and employ 70% of the workforce. However, 40% of the cyber attacks are targeted at SMEs, according to CSA. And I think the staggering figure here is that 60% of the SMEs that experience a data breach go out of business after 6 months. So, while not all SMEs may get the right security measures in place, they should all have at least some form of security, and ideally it would be a multi-layered approach to help secure their business. Some of the challenges that we see SMEs are facing, and as I talk to several customers, we see challenges such as the processes being too manual and informal, which ends up taking a lot of time, a lot of manpower. Solutions can be fragmented and complex. You may have one solution for your remote users, you may have a different solution for your web applications, and so on. And as a result, it becomes difficult to manage and move between platforms. The limited IT resources to handle current threats, I'm sure a lot of you experience this as well. And acquiring and retaining cybersecurity talent, you hire somebody to help manage your security platform, manage the governance of the security policies that you put in place. And then a year later, they leave, and then you have to retrain somebody new. So this is a constant battle as well that we see SMEs facing. And as a result, you have a lack of organization-wide acceptance of a cybersecurity plan. And a lot of companies they want a cybersecurity plan, but they need to shift their focus elsewhere, which is driving their revenues, driving their numbers, and they're not able to put as much attention into having a plan in place and working against that plan. And that is why in August this year we launched ViewQwest Secure Branch in partnership with Palo Alto Networks, which is featuring their Palo Alto 400 Series next generation firewall. And to talk to you more about this, I'll pass the floor to Henry from Palo Alto Networks.
Yeah, give me a minute. Let me share my screen. Okay, are you able to? Okay. Hi, good morning, everyone. So this is Henry from Palo Alto Networks. Yeah, assume you able to see my screen. Okay, so Palo Alto Networks is ranked #1 in terms of enterprise security, right? So we are securing 95 out of Fortune 100 companies in the world. And in terms of global 2000 biggest companies, we are actually securing and protecting 71% of them, right, to provide the cybersecurity solutions. So worldwide, we have been serving and protecting 85,000 customers worldwide, right? So this probably largest customer base worldwide not only shows that Palo Alto Networks are trusted by so many customers, so many industries and organizations, but also it means we have access to so many data and cybersecurity threats every day, right? So this actually allows us to build the largest cloud-hosted threat intelligence, right? And in turn, to serve and feedback to our customers to protect their networks and data. So Gartner, has rated the Palo Alto Networks for continuously 10 years as the security leader, right? In this in this Magic Quadrant, right? Palo Alto Networks. So in 2021, again, we are also ranked as the #1 over here. And the other analyst of industry, Forrester Wave, also rated Palo Alto Networks as one of the leaders in the enterprise-grade firewall domain. Right. So in our view, in Palo Alto Networks view, right, we think for SMEs, they are probably they could pay attention to these cybersecurity approaches, right? So it is not only about products and solutions. There are also processes and security postures SMEs may look into, right? So we just highlight some of them, right? Which is probably easier for SMEs to take up, right, and quickly act on it, right? In terms of the risk assessment, right? So first of all, you probably want to think about getting a security gap assessment, right? Just to understand, what is your possible gap in the security posture, right? Then to easily address some of the gaps, you may think about, just applying a multi-factor authentication, right, for your SME employee accounts, right? After that, what we think is very critical, right, for the SMEs to take up and adopt next generation firewalls, right? Then, so what does next generation firewalls mean, right? So unlike traditional firewalls, right, with the fast evolving modern day security threats and attacks, the next generation firewall need to be powered by machine learning and AI, artificial intelligence capabilities, right? So I will explain more on this point in the following slides. Also because of this pandemic, right, which accelerates the digital journey for many industries, including SMEs, right? So hybrid working forces require a next generation remote access, right? So no matter the employees working from home or working from office or anywhere else, the employee needs a fast and reliable and also secure access. And we call this next generation remote access. Right. So why we think all these next generation capabilities are important and probably vital to the the success of SMEs, right? If you look at the today's the threat landscape, we notice that the internet-based threats are increasingly sophisticated, right? So the modern web-based attacks are evading traditional URL filtering. Usually the traditional firewall is click ways, right? So URL filtering is, I think a lot of you already aware, right? Just to, block or alert, access to some websites or even just the web domains, right? But the problem with the traditional way is that thousands of the new phishing URLs are created daily, right? Using certain tools. So the traditional URL filtering, leveraging the database only, cannot keep up with this fast growing of the new phishing URLs. Okay. Then yeah, so so it's more and more challenging to protect web-based access. Another factor is the explosion of the SaaS, right? The services, the software as a services, for example, like Microsoft 365. So the adoption of the SaaS applications and the work from home has led to more internet usage in enterprise and more distributed locations to protect, right? So we have seen over 56 million new malicious web pages in last year, 2020 only alone. So this means 84% increase from the previous year. Traditional security, like the traditional URL filtering, takes time to diagnose newly malicious web pages, and attackers are coming with these new threats at a volume, right? So that the traditional URL database has no way to catch up with this trend, right? So not only this volume of the new web pages, but also the the sophistication of the cybersecurity attacks. Almost 90% of the phishing kits use evasive techniques that avoid today's common security analysis techniques, right? So in Palo Alto Networks, right, although our URL filtering is one of the industry best, we are always looking for ways to improve the value for our customers. So with the recent release of the advanced URL filtering from Palo Alto Networks, we have redefined how to identify and prevent new evasive and target web-based attacks. However, right, advanced URL filter alone is not sufficient to protect internet access for customers. This is because, yeah, when you look at the DNS traffic, right? So every device in the network uses DNS, and DNS traffic becomes one of the easiest target of the modern cybersecurity attacks. So, Palo Alto Networks has a research organization, right? We call it Unit 42. So this research organization, they are focusing on analyzing the cybersecurity attacks every day, right? Then they provide the research reports and white papers very frequently. So their research indicates that over 30% of attack uses DNS today in some way, and over 80% of all malware uses DNS to connect to the C2 traffic, command and control traffic, right? So that is why we don't think URL filtering or even more advanced URL filtering not enough alone. So it must be accompanied by a DNS security solution, right? So that we can provide a more secure way to access web pages and websites, right? So in Palo Alto Networks, we also very lately released a new DNS, or maybe their industry first protection, right, in the next generation firewall to protect the DNS traffic. Right. So this just to give you an example, right, which is found and alerted by FBI, CISA, and HSS from the United States. So they actually found and also sent out this warning, that Russian attackers are targeting hospitals and healthcare providers in the United States, right, adding to the chaos of the global pandemic. So the techniques these Russian hackers are using is really using the modern web attacks, and also they leverage they are using like DNS tunneling techniques, right, to actually compromise the DNS traffic and embed some malware via the DNS tunnels, right. So this actually resulted in above 10 million, ransomware ransoms, right, for the hospitals and clinics in the United States, right. So all this actually explains why next generation capabilities are so important for enterprise and also, of course, SMEs, right. So machine learning and artificial intelligence give us the capability to identify and prevent not only known, but also new and unknown threats and cybersecurity attacks, right? And these machine learning capabilities can be inbuilt and embedded into the next generation firewalls, right? So let me explain this more in the next slide. So on the other hand, right, because of the hybrid workforce and because of this pandemic, right, we have seen more and more requirements and the need from for our customers to request for a secure access service edge solutions, right? So this is to protect no matter the connectivity arises from branch offices or headquarters, or even from mobile devices, or from the employees working from home, right? So in Palo Alto Networks, we have these Prisma Access and Prisma SD-WAN solutions to provide this SASE, to address the SASE solution needs. Furthermore, right, all of the new security capabilities are delivered from the cloud, right, from this cloud. So previously I mentioned about advanced URL filtering, I mentioned about DNS security. So for us, all these security features and techniques are all developed and delivered from the cloud, right? And no matter you're using a hardware-based firewalls, you're using a software, virtualized firewalls, or you're using a cloud-native security solutions from Palo Alto Networks, all of these security subscriptions and the capabilities can be easily applied, right? And so that you have all this security posture, right, to be managed on your networks. And on top of that, we have this Unit 42 threat intelligence, right? So they are able to provide, for example, the virus signatures. They're able to provide the latest or even patient zero attacks and threats, and they quickly feed into the cloud for the firewalls at every customers to be quickly equipped with the latest security protection. So as I mentioned, we have actually developed these inline machine learning capabilities, right? So our Wi-Fi, which is a sandboxing solution, and our URL filtering security capabilities are all equipped with this inline machine learning modules embedded into next generation firewalls, right? And the benefit of this new development, new capability is that up to 95% of the common file-based attacks or web-based threats are prevented in line. Okay, are prevented in line. which means the firewall no need to interact with the cloud, right, in order to analyze malicious files or suspected files and listen to the verdict from the cloud. So this round trip takes probably a few seconds, right? That is already probably one of the fastest response in the industry. But with inline machine learning solutions, we are actually able to reduce that a few seconds response time to almost instant protections against the malicious or suspected file-based attacks. We provide instant responses to the URL, analysis, and we also provide DNS protections based on the inline machine learning capabilities. Right. So to address the SMEs requirements and needs specifically, we also developed a new series of products, which are Palo Alto's 400 series over here, right? So the PA400 series, again, inherit all the machine learning powered next generation capabilities, which usually you only see on the bigger boxes, right? Meant for the mid-size or even MNCs, large enterprise customers. Now, even at the branch offices, you are able to enjoy all these machine learning capabilities, right? Other than that, we actually able to deliver a lower total cost ownership and a simplified operations with the zero-touch provisioning, leveraging our Panorama centralized management, right? And look at the performance, right? We provide, a wide range of performance figures ranging from 500 Mbps per second to 2.6 gigabits per second with threat prevention turned on, right? So this gives the SMEs, a few choices according to your bandwidth requirement, right? So you don't need to invest unnecessarily on the bigger box if your bandwidth requirement is not that big enough, right? So, as Rohan previously mentioned that for SMEs, we see the common problems could be limited IT resources, right? So we address this need by providing a zero-touch provisioning and decentralized management capabilities, right? So you can actually outsource the branch security to a managed service partner, in this case, ViewQwest, right? So they use Palo Alto Network's zero-touch and a centralized management capabilities to manage the firewalls on-premise in your branch offices. So you don't need to invest in your own IT staff to manage it. You just leave this job to ViewQwest. We also understand that SMEs also want to protect and secure their data, right? Because nowadays data are becoming more and more important, right? Not only from the business perspective, but also from the data privacy perspective, right? So we have developed the machine learning powered next generation firewall, right? Through the cloud delivered services, we are better positioned to protect your sensitive data, right? I previously mentioned about advanced UI filtering, DNS security, right? So in addition to that, if you do have a requirement, to secure data according to, for example, the IMDA's, PDPR requirement, we also have a solution called DLP, data loss prevention or data privacy prevention solution, which we make sure your sensitive and private data never left your network. Then thirdly, we also realized that, for some of the remote offices or branch offices, they won't bother, the performance or stability of the firewall. They want it to be installed and drop into the office and no need to touch it anymore. So that is why we developed the PA400 series with very resilient design. So we equip all the PA400 with the dual power supplies, zero moving parts, right? So you don't need to worry about, need to changing the fans or need to change any parts of the firewall. They are all, secure, and they are all with the redundant power supplies. Yeah. So as I mentioned, right, although this is a very small and a neat design box, but it has all the software subscriptions and security features you can find out on the bigger boxes, right? So all these cloud delivered subscription over here. Sorry, now all the cloud delivered subscription over here can be selected and purchased in an a la carte way, right? According to your SMEs business needs, right? So you can select advanced UI filtering and DNS security to secure web traffic. You can also select Wi-Fi, as I mentioned, this to protect any malicious or file-based attacks. If your office need data privacy, then you can select DLP, right? And if you are using any SaaS applications like a Microsoft 365, like a Zooms for web conferencing, you can also probably consider SaaS security, right, to protect your web, your SaaS type of applications towards the cloud, right? Yeah. So next, right, we also understand that for the SMEs and the branch offices, usually space is a constraint, right? You don't have very large office space. So for the firewalls, we provide a very flexible mounting options, right? If you just want to mount the firewall on the wall, yeah, it is possible with this bracket to mount the firewall and the power adapters on the wall, right? If you want to simply place the firewall on the desktop, it is also supported, right? It's a small box, right? You can easily put it on the corner of the desk, right? But for some of the SMEs, if they have probably a small rack, then we also support the firewall, this PA400 box, to be mounted on a rack. So as a matter of fact, the rack we provided can help you mount up to 4 PA400 boxes in one rack, right? Then in terms of other important design, one of the key things I want to highlight is these PA400 boxes is adopting a fairness design, meaning when the firewall is turned on, you won't see those noises, right? It's very quiet, right? Just like probably even quieter than a PC or laptop, right? So as I mentioned, it also equipped with the dual power supply, right? Dual power supply to give you, more, peace of mind. And also it's designed with the zero moving parts, right? So you don't need to worry about, you need to send the IT staff or you need to get ViewQwest to exchange the parts for you. Okay, so now, let me give you a quick overlook of the 4 models of a PA400 here, right? From the left to right, it actually the least throughput to the highest throughput, right? The least number of the the sessions we support to the largest number of sessions we support. So these are to give you a combination of different models to address your different price and performance needs for your branch offices or remote offices, right? But remember these, all the 4 models supports the simplified operations with the zero touch provisioning, right? And compared to our previous last generation of boxes, this PA400 series provides 10 times higher performance, right? And also 5 times boot up times reduction, right? So which means when you boot up the firewalls, it's going to be very quick, right? Yeah, it's not like those traditional firewalls or even Palo Alto like last generation firewalls, right? The boot up time is very quick, right? Right. So my last slide over here, right? So not only we provide, the PA400 boxes as probably as the ideal branch security next generation firewalls, we also provide quite a number of services, to help you embark on a secure journey with Palo Alto Networks easily and smoothly, right? The first tool we provide is expedition, right? So this tool actually helps migrate your security policies from your legacy products towards the next generation firewalls from Palo Alto Networks, right? We help you easily and quickly translate the legacy rules, security rules from other products to the Palo Alto Networks compatible rules, right? So on top of that, we also provide, iron skillet, right? So this is the tool, right, to help you with the default security policies that align to the best practices configurations, right? Other than that, once you configure your firewalls, then probably 3 or 6 months down the road, you probably need to fine tune your security policies and rules according to your business needs, right? According to your applications running in offices. So we provide a best practice assessment. We call it BPA tool, right? To help you redefine the policy rules and also to examine the rules against the best practices in the industry. Furthermore, we can also compare your security policies versus some of the industry benchmark, right? For example, in most of the SMEs, they will probably configure layer 7 application access control. But if you do not, we will quickly highlight, this is something you probably are missing. And we also recommend how you can actually configure the layer 7 application access and control, right? Lastly, we also have a policy optimizer, right? So this tool allows you to move off legacy policies to application-based rules, right? And also it helps minimize the configuration errors, the human errors, save time with automation, right? And for example, if you have a policy rules configured for 90 days, but there's no traffic, no packet hit that rules, this policy optimizer will also quickly flag it out, right? Then you can look into this rule, so you can either delete it because you never use it, or you probably find another way to redefine this policy rule to make it relative and useful. Okay, so yeah, so that is really my last slide. Then I'll hand over back to Rohan.
Thanks, Henry. That was a lot of rich information shared. So at this point, I'd just like to remind everybody, if you have any questions, there was a wealth of information shared by Henry. Feel free to ask your questions in the Q&A chat. And after the presentation, either Henry or myself can help answer those questions for you. Okay. So, again, it was very important for us to be able to bring a enterprise grade solution and make it available to all of our SMEs and mid-sized customers. Hence why the title of this webinar was "No Branch Left Behind." And with Palo Alto and with the release of the 400 series earlier in August this year, we've been able to do just that. So we have full layer 7 inspection, we have secured encrypted traffic, zero trust network security, zero trust provisioning, as Henry was mentioning as well, to make it easy for you to deploy, and having user identification and control to allow which users can access and cannot access application servers and so on. We've been able to make this available to you. And these are the various subscriptions that they come with. And one of the things we've been able to do with this is instead of having to pay upfront, you can pay on a monthly basis. So this makes it easier for you to get any budget approvals and all of that. And it's also easy to deploy and manage, as Henry was mentioning, with the flexible mounting options, with the zero-touch provisioning. And we're able to bring it to the market at as low as $170 per month. And of course, there would be ViewQwest support provided with this. On top of for branch connectivity, where we provide support on the last mile, we can also help with the professional services where if you don't have the expertise to deploy it yourself, ViewQwest is happy to do that for you. And we also have ViewQwest managed services offering. As one of the challenges SMEs face is not having the right skill set or not having enough manpower to maintain and manage the firewall on a BAU basis. So ViewQwest can take over those operations and do the day-to-day tasks for you in terms of changing policies, adding policies, doing a monthly review with you in terms of what is happening in your network, what are the secure or unsecure files that have been identified. And that's starting at $60 per month. So at this point, I'd just like to bring us back to some of the other solutions that we have also identified along with Palo Alto, which is focused on companies that are starting to have multiple sites around the country, and they're looking for a central management platform. More often than not, it's usually a hub and spoke setup between their branches and headquarters. So what ViewQwest has done is we're hosting the Palo Alto firewalls in our data center, and companies can just connect to the firewall using IPsec so that they can have centralized security for all of their branches and remote users. And I mean, one of the key benefits of this is it eliminates the need for having any on-prem firewall and maintenance of those firewalls on your distributed branch offices. And it also protects you from branch to branch security threats. So when one branch is talking to another branch, all of the traffic is going through the central platform and being inspected before it's either going out to the internet or going out to one of your other branches. And it's connectivity agnostic. So if you have a need for high resiliency, you can get one connectivity line from ViewQwest and one connectivity line from one of the other service providers. And if you have remote user requirements, it is based on unique active sessions as opposed to subscribed licenses. So what this means is you can provision your entire workforce, but only pay for the licensed remote users. So it presents with a very flexible solution for companies that are growing and need to connect to a central platform. The other solution I'd like to briefly talk about is secure access, which is powered by Palo Alto's Prisma Access, which is a cloud-delivered and centrally managed security platform for globally distributed branches and remote users. Now, with Prisma Access being at the heart of the infrastructure, whether you have branches in the US, in China, in Philippines, Indonesia, they would all be connecting to the closest point of presence that Prisma Access has, which is hosted in the cloud. And your traffic would be inspected, and after being inspected would either go out to a SaaS application, to the public cloud, to the internet, or even to your data center or headquarters. Along with this, we also have the next generation SD-WAN, which is application defined. So instead of looking at most of the SD-WAN services in the market today are using layer 3, which just looks at things like packet loss, jitter, and latency to define routing criteria. What Palo Alto does is it uses application-defined layer 7. And what that means is it's looking at application success instead of packet loss. to determine what is the best routing policy for that application. And of course, with the machine learning powered security with Prisma Access, all of your traffic is inspected on the cloud before going out to the internet and is accessible to your distributed branches and workforce. And there's also autonomous digital experience management, which effectively looks at the entire service chain end to end, from the remote user to the application that they're accessing. And it's able to help you identify whether the issue is with the Wi-Fi router, is the issue with the ISP, is the issue with Prisma Access, is the issue with a SaaS application that you're trying to access. So it helps you pinpoint where exactly the problem is. So it makes it much easier to troubleshoot, much easier to improve the end user experience for your remote users. So I think that wraps up what we wanted to share today. And again, along with Palo Alto, we're extremely excited and passionate about being able to extend the enterprise-grade security for all of the SMEs and small businesses around Singapore.
All right. Thank you so much, Rohan and Henry, for running the discussions. I hope our attendees have gained insights on how to explore, of course, branch security and its potential weaknesses, and as well as, I believe, the changing needs for IT teams of a multi-branch business. Now, to our audience, we have received your questions from earlier. Thank you for sending them in. Now, for the exciting part, we will proceed to the Q&A. To our attendees, if we don't get to your questions today, we will be sure to follow up afterwards. We will now take some questions. I have received a question here from one of our attendees. She asked, I currently have another brand of firewall installed in my office. How is a next generation firewall different? And what are its tangible advantages versus existing firewalls today? Rohan, Henry?
I think I'll let Henry
Yeah,
take this
maybe. Yeah, okay, thanks. Yeah, so yes, so the next generation firewalls, right, is so different and advanced. First of all, equipped with machine learning and AI capabilities, right? So as I explained in my slides, right, with these machine learning capabilities, the next generation firewall is able to protect not only long threats, but also unknown and the patient zero, or we call it day zero, patient zero threats more efficiently, effectively, right? Secondly, next generation firewalls give us the capabilities, to leverage the cloud delivered subscriptions, right? So you're leveraging, Palo Alto Networks' largest customer base. Now, any other customer in the world, if they find a new threat, right, then Palo Alto Networks able to protect it. Then this new protection, be a new signature or a new Wi-Fi verdict, it would quickly apply into the cloud and push down to all of our customers worldwide. Which means, as a customer in Singapore, as SME of you are quickly enjoy these new signatures or new protection capabilities in the few seconds. Make sure you are able to be protected, right? And of course, thirdly, with Palo Alto Networks, the next generation firewalls, we are able to apply the new security capabilities, new features, without compromising the performance of your already installed hardware, right? Thanks to our patent single pass parallel processing architecture, right? So unlike the traditional firewalls, if you need to adopt a new feature, for example, DNS security, for example, IoT security, but your existing hardware performance may drop significantly, right? But in Palo Alto Networks, we make sure when you turn on a new feature, the performance is not compromised. Yeah. Hope I addressed the question already. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, Henry, for that. Okay, to our attendees, again, if you have questions, clarifications, please feel free to type in your inquiry in our Q&A tab, and Rohan and Henry would love to answer your questions here in our Q&A session. We have here, here you go. We have here another question from our attendees, from one of our attendees. She asked, uh, even as a small company, we see the need to implement cybersecurity measures, but with the limited IT budget, can you advise which are the first critical areas to prioritize? Mhm.
Sure. Maybe I can take this one. Thanks, Joseph. So, you know, security is a multi-layered approach, and there are several steps you need to take, not just one. I guess a place to start would be by looking to see how you can secure your perimeter. And what that means is uh, um, your employees in the office, them connecting to the internet. So that's step one that you would look to want to secure, which is your perimeter. So getting a firewall in place
Mhm.
to inspect and block any unsecured traffic that is going out to the public domain is a good place to start. And I think you could probably follow that up with looking at your endpoints, your mobile devices, your laptops, having at least some basic antivirus solution in place so that you have that security, even if those devices are going outside of the office. So I think that would be step one.
All right. So thanks for sharing that one, Rohan. Henry, do you have anything to um provide some insights there? All right. So yeah, to our attendees, if you have questions, feel free to type in your questions in our Q&A tab, and of course, Rohan and Henry will get back to you here in our session. Okay, so I think we have covered everything now, and it seems like um, you know um, we don't have much time today. So for those questions that we didn't cover, don't worry, we will set it to our speakers so that they can get back to you with some of our content pieces or through email. And again, to our dear attendees, thank you for attending this session. As indicated, we will be sending you a Grab food voucher worth $50 for your enjoyment. Again, we will be sending you a Grab food voucher worth $50 for your enjoyment. So please keep a lookout for it in your inbox, and should you be able to receive it before next Tuesday. Again, so kindly wait and scan through your email before next week's Tuesday, as we will be sending our Grab food voucher. To our audience, if you have any concerns or would like to arrange a consultation, you may visit our website, or you may contact our speakers, Rohan and Henry. So please note that you will receive the webinar recording through your email. And again, once again, thank you so much for joining us, and I wish you all a lovely day. Thank you so much, Rohan and Henry.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joseph.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining the webinar. Right, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I have typed my email address in the chat box. Right, and of course, you feel free to reach out to Rohan and the ViewQwest salespersons. Yeah, we will be more than pleased to help you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.